Let's talk about Maurice Hawkins again. I actually woke up this morning with a DM from Maurice. He only DMs me when he thinks he's kind of rubbing something in my face. He said, let me see if I can pull it up, because here's a little tip for anybody out there listening. If you send messages to a poker reporter or a reporter of any kind, like, it's on the record unless you say so otherwise.
Here's another tip for any listeners out there. Don't lend money to Maurice Hawkins or back him in any way, because he will rob you.
He said, you print facts. Proven I committed no fraud. Proven no repayment was ordered. Proven she's lying, saying she withdrew because of whatever. Truth, it's nowhere to be found after you blasted her lies for days. Proven I have a deal with Randy Garcia. It took 1 day to spread Denise's lies and 4 days for nothing to be said. Like I said before, I know what this is. Deuces. And I just responded, we record the podcast and release every Thursday. We're going to actually record today. We're recording right now. I said, you're welcome on the show. We all know how that goes. But what he was referring to was some developments that have happened regarding Denise Pratt's allegations on this very show. She came on back in, 2025, August, something like that, where she shared details of a backing arrangement that she had with Maurice Hawkins, the dispute that was there, and it went to arbitration that was spearheaded by Jungle Man, Daniel Cates, who, of course, is on a crusade in the poker world to tackle these sort of things, if you will. And the mediation summary was released by Maurice himself, and in it, it's basically saying that both parties have agreed that there will be no debt or repayment required, that there was an inability to conclusively establish fault, so no repayment is ordered, and that if they do any staking in the future, where there will be better guidelines, spoiler alert, there's not going to be. Denise has already said as much. And that there was just basically a lot of the issue was rooted in miscommunication that was revealed in text. Denise thinking that the backing was to be applied only to tournament buy-ins. Maurice was under the impression that it could be used for travel, hotel, and expenses. So
I got to see these text messages. I read this entire thing, and I'm just like, I'm reading it, and I'm like, okay, this is crazy that Denise signed anything that says that. In no situation are you buying action of a poker player and also paying for their lodging and their food and all that stuff. It doesn't happen. So maybe
unless it's specifically stated.
Unless, literally, unless you're like, I got you, buddy. This is a really soft turn. We're going to send you to Cambodia and fire off the WPT Cambodia now. Well, here's the point. I'd like to see these text messages. I don't see why they can't be released. Let's just release all of them and have the poker community decide what the fuck's going on. I don't know the lawyer who Jungle Man hired to arbitrate the thing, but I think it's a very weird conclusion where you say, well, it seems like nobody really knew who was paying for what. It's like, okay, well then Maurice Hawkins was probably taking advantage of her, right? If I have a backing agreement with an older lady who plays in poker and she's backing me and doing me a favor, whatever it is, at no point am I going to be taking advantage of her and trying to get her to pay for my hotels and all that stuff anyway. So that shouldn't be involved, especially if he's trying to say that it wasn't a backing, that it was just she buys pieces. Why is she paying for your hotel? Well, what are we talking about here? So I haven't seen all the text messages. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a bunch of stuff in there that's really crazy and makes Maurice look good somehow and yada yada. But here's the point. Maurice Hawkins, every freaking month on poker Twitter, every year, this guy's outed as a scammer. He's outed as someone who steals money from people, who won't pay you back, yada, yada, yada. Maurice Hawkins isn't a good person. Simple. We all know it now. Why are we even talking about this anymore? That's really how I feel. Every week, it's, what's going to happen next month? Oh, there's a woman in Connecticut has been robbed by Maurice Hawkins. It's like, maybe he's innocent this time.
First thing I'm going to say is, speaking of Jungle Man, somehow he was in my dream last night where we were both going on a run at a wedding and talking. So I just wanted to put that out there first. Very important.
You were yelling Jungle Man in your dream. You kept sleeping. Jungle Man.
Jungle Man. Jungle Man. Jungle Man. Yeah, anyway. But second, part of this too is that nothing was conclusive, right? Like the arbitration came to the point that no, we can't determine who's at fault or if there is fault. So it wasn't saying, oh, Maurice is innocent. It's literally saying well, there's nothing conclusive. It's sort of like when there's a play in football, right, where it's like, well, we don't have enough evidence to overturn the first down spot, where it's like, the call stands, right? So again, to Mike's point, don't lend Maurice Hawkins money. Like, maybe he is
just crazy.
This is exactly. So I'm not sick of talking about it. I think it's great to talk about it. I love it, but I am sick.
Maurice doesn't respond. I follow a piece of shit on Twitter. I'm like, you're a piece of shit, Maurice Hawkins. Maurice Hawkins, you are a garbage factory. A terrible human. No response. Because Maurice knows that he can pick on a bunch of other people on Twitter and talk shit about a bunch of other people. Oh, your poker results are this. What's he going to say to me? I got the results. What's up, dude? We're both really good poker players. Let's talk about your past and let's decide in front of the public whether or not you have done wrong. And I guarantee you, what's going to happen? Is it going to be everyone? Oh my God, Maurice Hawkins. We all didn't know he was actually a righteous human being and a nice guy. And we've all got it wrong.
Well,
that's not going to happen.
Well, so a couple things. Number one is Maurice is apparently doing an interview tonight later on. So as you hear this, it's probably out there if he actually followed through with Sherry Pluskota, who is going to do a Twitter space or whatever the space is. I haven't done really those. And so we'll see what he does. I exchanged some messages with her on social media and basically said, good luck. I hope you ask some hard questions. And so we'll see. I'll definitely tune in to see what it says there. As to Jungle Man, he did release a statement that was given to him by Denise Pratt, who, and I actually talked to Denise about this, both on the phone and via text messages, about why she made the decision. In her mind, she made the decision to end arbitration. Maurice is going to dispute that. He thinks otherwise, that there was not enough evidence. But from what she said in her statement to Jungle Man and in conversations with me, the incident with Eugene Castaneda, with the fist fight that came to violence and guns were allegedly involved. Like, Denise is a sweeter old lady, a little too sweet and innocent at times, I think, especially for the poker world. And she, just thought that more violence could be down the road with this, and she just wanted no part of it anymore, and that's why she decided to, in her words, to pull out of the arbitration or to settle the arbitration. Now, the arbitrator did release his statement, the settlement that laid out some facts. Now, here's another interesting aspect of this is Denise claims that Maurice is in breach of contract by releasing the settlement publicly. And he says no, but he actually is. I have obtained copies of the paperwork that was signed. It was a binding arbitration agreement that was dated on May 26 of 2025. So it was 7 months of arbitration. And in that original arbitration, under number 6, confidentiality, it says the arbitration proceedings and any related documents or communications shall remain confidential unless disclosure is required by law or necessary for enforcement of the arbitration award. Sounds to me like, you sign that, you're breaking that confidentiality. Now, I don't know if there's going to be any repercussions to that. I highly doubt it. But as Denise likes to point out, that goes to show you a little bit more about Maurice's character, that he...
It sounds like Maurice Hawkins took advantage of an older woman. That's what it sounds like to me. Maurice Hawkins took advantage of an older woman and now has her scared that she's going to have violence against her. And then she was sick of the arbitration going on and didn't want to be involved anymore and just was like, I don't care about this $11,000 and whatever. Nobody will even know this even happened. It's in the contract. And then Maurice Hawkins comes out and starts gloating about it on Twitter, which is obviously breach of contract, and she should sue him.
Yeah, he's certainly taking his quote-unquote victory lap, if you will. Now, there was one other aspect to this. Oh, by the way, just real quick, that was the binding arbitration agreement. I also saw emails that one dated just a month ago, December 10th, where the arbitrator was communicating with Maurice and Denise, saying, quote, you both agree that arbitration would be the final and binding agreement and it would be fully confidential. So that is in the arbitrator's words to them less than a month ago. So to say like, I don't remember what I signed back in May is something that wouldn't fly, if you will. So the other aspect of the story, just because I want to encompass this, because I really don't want to keep talking about this, contrary to what Maurice would think. And I'm happy to hear about this one. I hope it goes through. So back in 2019, this story, this has been part of my life since then. Randy Garcia called out Hawkins for failing to live up to a backing agreement that they had. And there was a final judgment in the amount of $115,000 awarded by the Circuit Court of the 15th Judicial Circuit in Palm Beach County, Florida. So there is a court judgment for $115,000 plus interest at this point against Maurice. I've done follow-up stories on this because there have been agreements and then it falls through and words back and forth. Apparently, and I asked Randy Garcia and he confirmed that he has come to a repayment plan with Maurice, and Maurice will repay $2,500 a month until $40,000 is paid, at which point the judgment would be considered satisfied. Now, I did say $30,000 online on one of Maurice's tweets. Randy told me $40,000. Not quite sure exactly, if there was some private messages there, but there's been some blowback on social media from people saying, like, why are you settling for $40K when you have a judgment for $115,000? I mean, kudos to Maurice with that negotiation.
Well, he's had a judgment for years, and it seems like he's having issues getting money, right? Like, I don't know anything about that. I don't know if Randy Garcia has done the correct things that he needs to do to try to get the most money out of Maurice Hawkins.
So from my understanding is he's tried, but the issue is, like, and I'm not familiar with it too, and I'm no lawyer, right, is you can go after a certain account or something if money's there. What's that?
I thought you were a lawyer.
Aren't you aware?
I went to law school for a year. Far be it from being
that's good enough. Yeah,
like what needs to be done, and I think this was done maybe to Phil Ivey, and I think I've heard it done to others, is you can somehow, through the legal system, work at, or get a casino that any money won at that casino, they can't even pay it out to the person. They have to immediately seize it to satisfy the lien. Maybe not unlike unpaid child support or something, but I don't know the legal process to do that. It might be much easier said than done. And it also might not be worth it. It might not be worth it in terms of, like, look, when Phil Ivey was having the garnishments, it was because he was winning, I believe, if I'm recalling this correctly, apologies if not, he won millions from the Baccarat edge sorting. So to go after millions is a little different than $115K. Who knows how much that might cost in legal fees. And I'll say this. I hope, Maurice, if you're listening, I'm sure you are, stick to it. Pay $2,500 a month until $40,000 is repaid. Randy will say publicly that it is, and it is a step in the right direction, if you will. I said I just don't know
how Maurice Hawkins sleeps at night, honestly. Like, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night if I were him. I'd be like, wow, I'm a piece of shit, and I'm probably going to hell. Yeah.
I mean, everybody has their different morals, ethics, and whatnot. So that's the latest open invitation. Maurice, you're welcome to come on the show. But I'm glad the arbitration is at least over, and I hope that this agreement with Randy goes accordingly, and that this can finally be done. I don't want to get a message in a month or two from Randy saying, "Oh, Maurice hasn't paid." Like, just pay it. Life will be much easier for everybody involved. So.
Also, I think Maurice is such a big part of the Poker News podcast now that he should be the fourth member of our Survivor team.
Like, oh my god!
Like, he should be, like, if you want in, Maurice,
we should let him put the tickets in too. Yeah. So when we win, we can't get any money.
Yeah,
it'd be so funny.
It'd be so funny.
How funny that would be.